Hey, shalom. My name is Brother Yashar, and I'm here today with a lesson of Deuteronomy 28. Now, I know you're used to hearing about the curses, but today I wanted to make it different and talk about the blessings. I wanted to do this so we can hyper focus on a small amount of verses at a time. So let's get into it. So, the blessings of obedience. This is very important because the Most High God requires obedience from us, right? So today, as I stated, we're going to be covering verses 1 through 4, a verse by verse study of the foundations of covenant blessing. The Deuteronomy blessing series that I've put together for you is going to be divided up into 4 lessons and walking through Deuteronomy 28, verses 1 through 14. These are the blessings promised to us for covenant faithfulness. Lesson 1 will cover verses 1 through 4. Lesson 2, verses 5 through 8. Lesson 3, verses 9 through 11. And lesson 4, verses 12 through 14. Every lesson follows the same pattern. We're going to go scripture and then plain English. We're going to do just a simple Hebrew word study with pronunciation, historical and cultural context, which is very important, cross references across scripture, and also ancient meaning, modern illustration, and some student Q&A. So Deuteronomy 28 in verse 1. This is the foundation of every blessing. Every blessing in Deuteronomy 28 begins with one requirement: complete obedience to the voice of the Most High. Before any promise is fulfilled, he first calls us as Israel to faithfully keep his commandments. So as I stated, we're going to cover some historical setting. Right? Where were we at this point in history? Well, we spent 40 years wandering in the wilderness because our fathers did not believe the Most High. That generation died in the wilderness, just as he declared in Numbers 14. You could find that in verses 26 and 35. But he preserved us, our children, to inherit the promised land. So at this point, we stand on the plains of Moab across the river Jordan. Behind us is the wilderness, and before us is the land that Yahweh promised our forefathers. Moses knows he will not enter the land with us. You could find that also in Deuteronomy 32, verses 48 through 52. Yahweh commands him to view the land from Mount Nebo before his death because of his disobedience at Mount Meribah. Before Joshua leads us into Canaan, Moses gives us his final covenant message. As we know, Moses was talking through us all throughout the wilderness through them 40 years, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So this is his final declaration to us. He reminds us of everything the Most High has done for us. He repeats his laws to this new generation, and teaches us that obedience brings blessings, while rebellion brings curses. Like a loving father giving his children final instruction before they begin a new chapter, Moses promises us or prepares us to enter the promised land. This is the initial setting of Deuteronomy 28. So what we must first understand is how our disobedience damages the reputation of the Most High. We could find examples in Ezekiel 36 and 20, and it reads, "And when they entered unto the heathen, whither they went, they profaned my holy name. When they said to them, These are the people of the Lord, and are gone forth out of his hand." Now, after generations of rebellion, we were scattered among the nations because we broke the Most High's covenant and failed to uphold his name, right? Anything that the Most High instructs, we fail to do that the way that he tells us to do that, it's always going to go back on him. Yes, they're going to look at us as his people, but ultimately the disdain, the damaged reputation goes to the Most High. 2 Samuel 12 and 14, "Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die." He's speaking to David. David's adultery and murder of Uriah gave Israel's enemy reason to mock God, right? This is all going against the commandments of God. Numbers 14 through 16, here's a summary of these scriptures. This teaches us that Israel's lack of faith would make other nations think God wasn't powerful enough to keep his promises. So Moses asked God to protect his reputation instead of focusing on what we deserved. Our disobedience caused the nations to question the power of the Most High and faithfulness of the Most High in this chapter here. As God's people, we must remember that our actions reflect the Most High. When we live in obedience, we bring honor to his name. But when we live in sin or hypocrisy, we give others reason to question, mock, and speak against him. Our goal should always be to represent him faithfully, so that his name is glorified, not dishonored, by the way we live. When we follow his commandments, it states in the Bible that we're going to be a light to the nations. It states earlier in Deuteronomy that this will be our wisdom in the sight of the nations. So how we walk within his commandments pleases him. Therefore, he rewards us just like our earthly father would reward us for doing the things that he tells us to do. So Deuteronomy 28:1, and it shall come to pass, if thou hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations on the earth. Moses tells us that if we diligently listen to the voice of the Most High, faithfully keep his commandments, and live by them, he will set us above all nations on the earth. It's pretty plain either way you put it. This is more than simply hearing his words. It's living them. Every blessing in Deuteronomy 2 through 14 depends on one condition. Our obedience comes first. His blessings follow. So 4 parts of this verse. It shall come to pass. This is a Hebrew expression that emphasizes certainly. The Most High is not offering possibility. He's giving us a guaranteed promise if we remain obedient to his commandments. If thou shalt hearken diligently. 2. This introduces the condition of the covenant. Every covenant continues with responsibilities, and the blessings are promised to us only if we remain faithful to the covenant. 3. Observe and do. Many of us can hear the commandments, but the Most High calls us to do them more than listen. He calls us to obey. Knowing his law is not enough, we must live faithfully if we expect to receive his blessings. 4. Will set thee on high. The Most High promises to elevate us in every way. That's spiritually, nationally, economically, militarily, and morally, so that we become an example of faithful covenant living to all nations. Again, a light to the nations. A Hebrew word study, hear, guard, and do. These are very important, right? So the first word is hearken. In the Hebrew, it's shema. Shema. It means to hear intelligently, to listen, to understand, and to critically to obey. In Hebrew thought, true listening always requires an action, right? Our second word, shema. It means to observe, to guard, to be circumspect, to protect, watch over, careful, and keep carefully. It's like a guard at the entrance of a royal treasury. Protect what is valuable. That's how we should look at the commandments, right? We're protecting something that's very valuable to us. Why? Because it's going to exalt us. It's going to elevate us. The next word is do, or shah. To do, to accomplish, to perform, to put into practice. Faithfulness in scripture is active, never merely theoretical. Shema means far more than hearing sound. Now imagine this, right? A father telling his son to take out the trash. I'm pretty sure most fathers that are listening to me right now can relate to this. I did it as a son. right? Then the son says, I hear you. But 3 hours later, the trash is still sitting there. By the Hebrew standards, this is our mindset. By Hebrew standards, he never truly heard at all. He only heard the sound of what he was being told to do. To Shema is to hear, understand, and act upon it, right? This is what we should do and keep in mind when God's commandments are at the forefront. Why these three words matter together. To hear we hear God's instruction, listen with intent to obey. To guard, we treasure and carefully preserve what he has commanded us to do. And to do is to live it out consistently. Put it into faithful practice. You think upon it every day, these 3 steps every day of your life, right? Many people stop after hearing. Some hear and appreciate the Most High's instruction. Others hear and intend to obey someday. But Moses presents a complete progression, and the blessing is attached to the entire process, not merely the first step. This is what we experience at camp all the time. Most people stop after hearing. Some people hear and appreciate it and will walk away and they'll obey someday, if at all, right? This is what we need to do as the Most High's chosen, is to hear, guard, and do. These 3 concepts, if we do them daily and apply them to our lives daily, the commandments are going to be basically, like he said in the new covenant, programmed. We're just going to wake up and do it because we're already in the mindset. So some detailed cross references, right? Exodus 19 verses 5 and 6. Now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a particular treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine. Right? The foundation of, and I'm just going to stop there. The foundation of Deuteronomy 28. It's the same thing in Exodus. God redeemed Israel before giving covenant obligations. Obedience was the response to grace, not the price of it, right? Leviticus 26, 3 through 13. Here's a summary. If we walk in the commandments of the Most High and keep his covenant, he promises to bless us with rain in its season, abundant harvest, peace in our land, victory over our enemies, fruitfulness, and his presence among us. He reminds us that he is the one who brought us out of Egypt to live as a free and holy people, which we are not now, right? Because we have been disobedient, and our people still are, right? The earlier blessing and curse chapter from Deuteronomy, Moses repeats what God had already spoke at Sinai. The covenant standards have not changed. Chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. God, and I believe this is the NLT, God blesses those who refuse evil advice and won't follow sinners to join in or sneering at God. Instead, they find happiness in the teaching of the Lord, and they think about it day and night. They are like trees growing beside a stream, trees that produce fruit in season and always have leaves. Those people succeed in everything they do, which is what the Most High said, right? In the blessings. The national principle of Deuteronomy 28 reflected in faithful individuals and compares them to a tree planted by a stream. The tree is always prosperous and produces fruit. This is how the Most High wants to see us. That's why he gave us this blueprint, because he wants to see us prospering, because what that brings is recognition to the type of God that he is, a just, balanced, merciful, and fearful God, right? What this promise meant to us in ancient times, a nation other nations would notice. Imagine the nations around us. One is plagued by corruption, dishonest judges, failing harvest, and violence. But we as Israel are faithfully living according to the law of the Most High. People travel to our land because our agreements are honest. Our judges refuse bribes, and our widows, orphans, and the poor are cared for according to his commandments. As the nations witness our peace and prosperity, they begin to ask, why does this nation flourish? Or why does Israel flourish? The answer is not our military strength or natural resources. It is our covenant with the Most High and our faithful obedience to his commandments. Our greatness is meant to bring glory to him, not to ourselves. The glory is never for us. It's always to the Most High. A society shaped by integrity. Imagine this again. Our entire nation living by the commandments of the Most High, where honesty, justice, compassion, and integrity shape our daily lives. Our businesses keep their word. Our judges cannot be bribed. Our teachers faithfully instruct our children, and our families remain committed to one another. The nations trust us because we are dependable. They know our agreements are honored, justice is upheld, and the innocent are protected. As they witness our way of life, they ask, what makes Israel different? The answer is our covenant with the Most High. By living according to his commandments, we reflect his righteous character for all nations. Again, it goes back to his character. We have to be mindful, if we even think about breaking the commandments, what the repercussions of it is. Yes, he tells us if you break these commandments, these things will happen to you, but also in your mind, you have to think, I'm putting a stain on my God's name. Common misunderstandings. If we obey the Most High, we will automatically become rich. That's the first thing a lot of people think. Rich. This promise is given to us as a covenant nation, not merely as individuals. As we prepare to inherit the promised land, the Most High promises to bless us as a whole nation when we remain faithful to his covenant. Another misconception. Above all nation means Israel would dominate every nation politically at all times. In a way, that's kind of misunderstanding, but I put that in this way just because it's not all about dominance and time, right? The Most High promises us honor, distinction, and covenant favor. Throughout our history, we experience seasons of blessings when we remain faithful to his covenant, and seasons of judgment when we turn away from his commandments. So in this way, yes, we are going to be the dominant nation when Christ returns, right? Our political system will rule the world, but that's not going to be everything that we will reap, right? And we'll go further into that in just a bit. So, according to Deuteronomy 28:1, what 3 actions did God require of Israel before promising to set them above, or set us above, all nations? I'll give you a second to throw out your answers, and then I'll put the answer on the screen. All right. So the correct answer is, we are called to, 1, diligently listen to the voice of the Most High with intent to obey him. 2, we carefully keep and guard his commandments. And 3, faithfully put them into practice. These 3 responsibilities are the foundation for every blessing that follows in Deuteronomy 28:2-14. Okay, so carry on. A key takeaway from this verse is the blessing of Deuteronomy 28, or blessings of Deuteronomy 28, do not begin with prosperity. They begin with obedience. As we hear the voice of the Most High, treasure his commandments, and faithfully live by them, the covenant blessings will follow. Every blessing in the chapter is built upon this foundation. Deuteronomy 28:2. When blessings chase us down. Verse 1 answers what we must do, and verse 2 answers what the Most High will do in return. If we remain faithful to his covenant, we will not have to chase blessings. They will overtake us. As the curses said in verses, will overtake us. The blessings will overtake us as well through his favor. Get some water. It's good water. Deuteronomy 28:2. And all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. The Most High tells us if we faithfully obey him, his blessings will come upon us and overtake us. He never calls us to chase wealth, success, or prosperity. Instead, he calls us to seek him and remain faithful to his commandments, trusting that his blessings will follow. The whole thing about this is trust. We have to trust in the Most High. The blessings are the result of our obedience. It's not the goal. The goal is essentially keeping the commandments. The 4 parts of verse 2 is all, number 1, and all these blessings. Notice the word all, not some or only few. Every blessing through verse 14 is promised to us as a covenant nation if we remain faithful to the Most High, describing an entire society living under his favor. Notice nations. A lot of what Christianity likes to do and religions and things like that is they like to individualize things. Yes, we have to work out our own salvation, but the Most High has always blessed and judged nations. That's it. 2, shall come on thee. The Hebrew paints a picture of the Most High's blessings coming upon us like rain falling over the land. We do not have to search for rain. It just comes to us. In the same way, we remain faithful to his covenant. His blessings come upon us through his favor. Number 3, and overtake thee. One of the most beautiful promises in this chapter is that the blessings of the Most High will overtake us. As we faithfully walk in his commandments, we do not have to chase his blessings. They will catch up to us through his favor. Number 4, if thou shalt hearken. The Most High repeats this condition so that we never separate his blessings from our obedience. His covenant blessings are always tied to our faithfulness in keeping his commandments. Another Hebrew word study, blessings, right? That overtake. This is a gift of divine favor resulting in flourishing, fruitfulness, and well-being, peace, abundance, and success according to the Most High's covenant. Far larger than getting money. This is way larger than just money. We should take, yes, money is a tool, but what the Most High has for us, it's way more than money, right? Let's take a look at overtake. Nasag, to catch, to reach, to overtake, to catch up with. Often used elsewhere in scripture of one army catching another. The Most High flips this imagery. Blessings catch Israel. Okay, blessings catch us. After spending 40 years wandering in the wilderness, these promises would have filled us with hope. Instead of merely surviving, we would flourish. Instead of wandering, we would inherit the land. Instead of living in scarcity, the Most High would bless us with abundance. Biblical cross references. So let's go to Psalms 23:6, and it reads, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. David's personal testimony mirrors the national promise. God's favor is not manufactured by human strength, but actively extended by God himself. Proverbs 3 verses 1 through 10. A summary is, if we remember the commandments of the Most High, trust him with all our heart, honor him with our substance, and walk in his wisdom, he promises to guide our paths, bless our lives with peace, and provide for our needs. Like Moses, we are not called to make wealth our pursuit. We are called to seek the wisdom of the Most High, trust him, and faithfully keep his commandments, knowing that he will provide us according to his covenant. What this promise meant to us in ancient times: fields, flocks, and us being a flourishing nation. Now imagine this, us living in the promised land as the Most High intended. Our fields are full of healthy grain, our vineyards are overflowing with grapes, our olive trees bear abundant fruit, and our flocks continue to multiply. The nations come to trade with us because the work of our hands prosper. They look at us and ask, why does everything they do succeed? The answer is not luck or human skill alone. It's the covenant blessing of the Most High upon a nation that faithfully walks in His commandments. His favor extends to our farmers, craftsmen, shepherds, merchants, judges, and families alike. So a modern day illustration, when we faithfully conduct doors, imagine our nation consistently living by the commandments of the Most High. We become known for honesty, diligence, justice, and integrity in everything that we do. Our merchants deal fairly. Our craftsmen keep their words. Our judges uphold justice, and our families wisely manage what the Most High has entrusted to us. As the nations see our faithfulness, they come to trust us and desire to do business with us. Opportunities increase, not through deception or exploitation, but because our obedience builds trust. This is the picture Moses paints of a covenant faithful Israel living under the blessings of the Most High. Some common misunderstandings of this verse. Blessings mean I'll never have problems. Scripture does not teach that covenant faithfulness removes every hardship. Even as Israel, we still face droughts, enemy attacks, and seasons of testing. Moses, Joshua, David, and the prophets all endured difficulties. These blessings describe the overall condition of our nation when we faithfully walk with the Most High, not a life free from every trial. The opposite is true of another misunderstanding. I should pursue blessings. The opposite is true. Our responsibility is to remain faithful to the covenant, but by obeying the commandments of the Most High. His responsibility is to fulfill the blessings He has promised. The blessings flow from our covenant relationship with Him. They are never a substitute for it. So, according to Deuteronomy 28:2, what is our responsibility and what did God promise to do? Give you some time. All right, let me go back. Our responsibility is to continue listening to obeying the voice of the Most High. In return, He promises that all of His covenant blessings will come upon us and overtake us, revealing His favor in every area of our nation's lives. That's it. Follow instructions and I'll bless you. A key takeaway is we are never commanded to chase covenant blessings. Our calling is to faithfully obey the Most High and keep His commandments. As we walk in obedience, He promises that His blessings will come upon us and overtake us, making His favor evident throughout our nation. All right, so let's move on to verse 3. Deuteronomy 28:3. Blessed in the city and blessed in the field. We're all used to hearing the opposite, right? So let's take a look at what the blessed in the city and the blessed in the field looks like. The Most High intended His covenant blessing to touch every part of our lives, whether we were in the city or in the countryside. His favor would go with us wherever we lived and wherever we went. Deuteronomy 28:3. Blessed shall thou be in the city, and blessed shall thou be in the field. The Most High tells us that no matter where you are, whether living in the city or working in the countryside, His blessings will be with us. His covenant favor is not limited to one place, but extends into every part of our lives, including our homes, farms, businesses, marketplace, leadership, and daily work. There's no area of our nation that His blessing cannot reach when we remain faithful to His covenant. So we're going to break this up into 3 parts, or actually 2 parts. City and field. Here's for everywhere. The city represents the center of our nation's daily life. It was where government, business, commerce, justice, education, skilled trades, and public affairs took place. It was also where legal matters were settled, contracts were made, and judgments were given at the city gates. In the field means the fields were where we grew our wheat, barley, plant our vineyards, and raised our flocks and herds. They were the foundation of our livelihood, because without productive fields, our cities could not survive. So a merism. By mentioning both city and field, Moses is describing everything in between. In other words, wherever we live, work, or travel throughout the land, the covenant blessings of the Most High are able to reach us. Hebrew word study. We're going to look at blessed, city, and field. So it's Barak, right? To be favored by the Most High and flourish under his care, enjoying security, fruitfulness, peace, and his blessings in every area of our lives. City, a fortified town, a center of authority, a public life. To be blessed in the city meant our nation would prosper under the covenant of the Most High. This is the field. Open farmland and pasture where we labored, produced food, and received our inheritance. It represented our livelihood and the foundation of our nation's survival. So some detailed cross-references would be Leviticus 26 verses 4 through 5, and it reads, "Then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit, and your threshing shall reach shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time, and ye shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely." What this teaches us is that we are an agricultural nation. So the blessings of our city depends on the blessings of our field. As the Most High prospers our land, our entire nation prospers with it. Psalms 128 and verse 1 through 2 in the CEV. The Lord will bless you if you respect him and obey his laws. Your fields will reproduce and you will be happy. All will go well. David brings the national covenant blessing into the home. National blessings is experienced through faithful families. Proverbs 3 and 33. The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. The Most High's blessing is not confined to a public workshop. It shapes everyday life, from the marketplace to our home. What this promise meant to us in ancient times. The merchant and the farmer. Imagine living faithfully under the covenant of the Most High. Some of us labor in the city where our merchants deal honestly, our judges rule with justice, our agreements are honored, and the nations come because they trust our integrity. Others labor in the fields where our crops grow abundantly, our vineyards flourish, and our flocks and herds multiply. Through our work, though our work is different, we all share the same covenant blessing. Whether in the city or in the field, the Most High prospers us. And together, our faithfulness strengthens our entire nation. So this reminds me of when the general tells us and captains tell us, find your niche, find your blessing, find your skill. Because even though we all may be doing different things, it's all going to come up under the same umbrella as for us as a body, as a nation, to prosper and grow in what we're trying to do and fulfill the mission of the Most High. Modern day illustration. So the blessed in the city and in the field. So just imagine, of course, we're under the covenant of the Most High. In our cities, our merchants keep their words. Our judges uphold justice. It's the same thing. Our teachers faithfully instruct our children. and our leaders serve the people with integrity. Because of our righteousness, the nation respects and trusts us. In our fields, we carefully care for the land the Most High has given us. Our harvests are plentiful, our flocks increase, and every craftsman, builder, shepherd, and laborer takes pride in the work of their hands. Whether we labor in the city or in the field, our daily work reflects the wisdom of the Most High, and together it strengthens us as a nation again. Some common misunderstandings of this: the verse only applies to farmers. No, the city and the field together represent every part of our nation's lives. The Most High promises his covenant favor over every area of our society as we faithfully walk in his commandments. Another common misconception is blessed means everyone becomes wealthy. This is what I've heard a lot coming into the truth. We keep his commandments, man, we gonna have everything. It's always wealth. And what I've seen is like, we don't look at it as we don't know what it's like to prosper in every aspect of life, because there's very few of us that have experienced that, right? So the blessing of the Most High include provision, justice, peace, fruitfulness, labor, strong families, and stability. That is in every aspect of life. The focus is living and flourishing under his covenant care, not simply gaining material possessions. So, another question for you guys. Why does Moses mention both the city and the field in Deuteronomy 28:3? I'll give you some time. So the answer is Moses uses city and field to represent every part of our nation's lives. The city represents our public life, and the field represents our labor and provision. Together, they show that the covenant blessings of the Most High are meant to reach every area of our lives as we faithfully walk in his commandments. A key takeaway is that the covenant blessings of the Most High were never meant to be limited to our worship alone. They were meant to shape every part of our nation, from our cities to our fields, so that our entire way of life would reflect his wisdom, justice, and his goodness. It's all about how we are reflecting what he's telling us to do, right? Everything that we do as his chosen, as his children, it reflects him. Just as what your children do on this earth, it reflects you. When they get in trouble at school, how do you think that makes me look? By you doing that. It's the same thing with the Most High. And our last verse that we're going to speak about, right, is Deuteronomy 28:4. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body. The covenant blessings of the Most High were not limited to us alone. They extended to our children, our land, and our livestock, revealing his promise of generational blessing as we remain faithful to his covenant. Deuteronomy 28:4. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thine kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. The Most High tells us in plain English that if we remain faithful to his covenant, he will bless our children, our land, our flocks, and everything that sustains our future. Rather than merely surviving from year to year, our families will grow, our harvest will increase, and our livestock will flourish. And future generations will inherit abundance instead of scarcity. So let's break this up into 4 different parts. The 5 blessings named. Fruit of thy body. Our children and descendants ensure the continuation of our families, our inheritance, and the covenant people. Through them, our nation endures from one generation to the next. So the fruit of thy body, just always remember that is generational wealth, and not in just money, but everything. In our thought process, in our Hebraic process, in our covenant process, it's generational wealth in all aspects of our life through the Most High, through the obedience of the Most High, right? Fruit of thy ground are wheat, barley, grapes, olives, figs, and every crop would flourish, making our land truly flow with milk and honey. A Hebrew expression describing extraordinary fruitfulness and abundance under the blessing of the Most High. Fruit of thy cattle and kine. Our cattle represent provisions and prosperity, supplying food, labor, and daily necessities. The blessing was not merely preserving what we had, but causing our herds to increase and multiply under the favor of the Most High. Flocks of thy sheep. Our flocks provided wool, meat, milk, and animals for sacrifice. As they increased, they became a sign of stability and a blessing the Most High had given our nation. So let's take a look at what the word for fruit, peri. The same Hebrew word is used for children. It's used for crops, trees, and other produce, showing that the Most High blesses everything that brings forth life and increase, right? So let's take a look at increase. The Hebrew emphasizes growth and multiplication, not mere survival. The Most High is not promising that we will barely get by, but that what He gives us will continue to increase under His blessing, which comes with us being obedient, right? Remember where we have come from, right? In this chapter, 40 years wandering in the wilderness with no vineyards, no permanent homes, no inherited farms. Now the Most High promises that we will finally settle in the land He swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our forefathers, where our families will inherit lasting abundance instead of living from day to day or from one day to the next, right? This is something also to look for now, because when Christ comes back, we're going back to the land, and these things are going to prosper once again. So detailed cross references that you could take a look at. Genesis 1:28, of just giving an example. And the Most High blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply. From the beginning, the Most High created us to be fruitful and multiply. In Deuteronomy 28, He promises to restore the same flourishing to us as a nation, blessing our lives in the land He's to give our fathers as we remain faithful to His covenant. Genesis 26:12-14. A summary is Isaac trusted the Most High, and He blessed him with an abundant harvest, increasing flocks, herds, and servants until he became exceedingly prosperous. His growth was so great that the surrounding nations took notice and envied him. Isaac's life showed us what the covenant blessings look like in practice. Everything that we refer to in lessons, we always can demonstrate that as an example of what was left to us, right? That's why the Bible tells us to search the old. Even during a famine, the Most High caused him to prosper, providing that His blessings are not limited by difficult circumstances. All it is obedient, trust, faithfulness, and the Most High will take care of the rest. Psalms 127, verse 3-5. The summary is the children are a gift and blessing from the Most High. A family with many children is strengthened, honored, and prepared for the future because the Most High provides them as an inheritance. This explains why Moses begins with our children. They strengthen our families, preserve the covenant people, and carry the promises of the Most High into the future. So when we're all gathered together at Tabs coming up, when we're all gathered together at Passover coming up, look at that generation playing together. They're the future. They're the ones that continue everything that we're trying to instill now forward. So what did this mean to us in ancient Israel? A family settling into inherited land. So imagine us under the covenant in the land of our inheritance promised to our fathers. Each season, our fields produce healthy grain. Our vineyards and olive trees bear fruit, and our families enjoy the harvest from the land he has given us. Our children learn to care for the inheritance that will one day be passed down to them. So now, instead of living the paycheck and you got to get a college degree to get a good job, we're teaching them something different in this circumstance. We're teaching them, hey, this is how you know when a grape is ripe, to smash and make wine. From that, you produce a business of selling wine, the same things that you can do with olives and making olive oil and starting a business with that. We're passing these things down to our children. This is what it is supposed to look like and what we're supposed to be in at this time had we been obedient. Our herds and flocks continue to multiply, and together we rejoice at harvest, giving thanks to the Most High for his abundant provision. There is enough to provide for our families, enough to share with those in need according to his commandments, and enough to preserve for future generations. This is the picture of the covenant nation living under the blessing of the Most High, where his provision brings stability, generosity, and lasting hope. This is a completely different way of life than what we're living now. And it's caused by the evil that is in charge. The evil wants to take more and more and more and not care about the needy. We will prosper like we've never prospered before and have an abundance of everything so that we can be generous and take care of the needy, right? So a modern day illustration of this is a legacy beyond property or savings, right? Imagine us faithfully walking in the commandments today. From one generation to the next, our children are raised to fear him, work diligently, and walk in righteousness, becoming a blessing to our nation and preserving the covenant for future generations. As we faithfully manage the inheritance the Most High has given us, our homes are stable, our labor prosper, and we have enough to care for our families and help those in need. Our greatest inheritance is not wealth alone, but a legacy of covenant faithfulness that continues from generation to generation. Some common misunderstandings. This verse guarantees every faithful person will have many children. The immediate context is the covenant the Most High made with us as a nation. These promises describe the overall fruitfulness he would give us in the land as we remain faithful to his covenant, rather than guaranteeing the same outcome for every individual family. I hope that makes sense to you. This blessing is only about wealth. I like to emphasize wealth because it's something that us as a nation, being in this nation, have not really had. If you look at the statistics, we're at the bottom of everything, basically. Yes, there are some of us that are prospering. Yes, no one is negating that. But as a nation, we are at the bottom. The blessing of the Most High include material provision, but they reach far beyond that. They include strong families, fruitful labor, abundant food, stable communities, future generations, and the ability to care for one another as a covenant people. So this is our fourth and final question of this lesson, right? Sorry about that. But according to Deuteronomy 28:4, what areas of Israel's life would experience God's covenant blessing? The Most High promised to bless our children, our crops, our cattle, our herds, and our flocks. Together, these blessings reveal his provision for our family, our food, our livelihood, and the future of our nation as we remain faithful to his covenant. A key takeaway is that the blessings of the Most High were designed to sustain every foundation of our nation's life. True prosperity was not measured by possessions alone, but by strong families, faithful labor, faithful stewardship, and a covenant legacy passed from one generation to the next. So, the lesson summary, let's reflect and review the foundation of the covenant blessing. Before the Most High promises us victory, peace, prosperity, and abundance, he establishes one unchanging principle: Obedience comes before blessing. Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 4 lays the foundation for every covenant blessing that follows. The flow of God's covenant, obedience, hear, guard, and practice God's commandments. God's favor, blessings come upon Israel and overtake them, right? Verse 1, verse 2, verse 3. In every area, city and field, every sphere of national life. Future generations in verse 4, family, land, and livestock, flourishing and multiplying. This order is extremely important. The blessing never comes first. Obedience always comes first. What kind of nation would we become, right? These are some examples. Imagine if every one of us faithfully kept the commandments of the Most High. Imagine if one of our judges refused bribes. Imagine if every one of our merchants used honest weights and measures. Imagine if every one of our farmers, cared for the poor by leaving the corners of their fields unharvested, just as the Most High commanded in Leviticus 19, 9 through 10. Imagine if every one of us paid our workers fairly. Imagine if every family honored marriage. And imagine if every Sabbath was faithfully observed. And imagine if justice was applied equally to both the rich and the poor. That is what we as a people need to look forward to and need to take a deeper look within our nation and see these things within our nation. I understand who we're subjugated under, but within our people, if this was our mindset, that's the threat. One important observation. What does God not emphasize? Money, silver, gold, luxury, palaces, right? What God does emphasize: children, food, work, land, community, daily life, and faithful generations. So let's switch our mind off of riches and look at us as a nation. Because us being a nation, this over here, what God does not emphasize, comes as a bonus. The relationship between obedience and blessing, grace comes first in the covenant. One of the greatest misunderstandings of Deuteronomy 28 is the idea that our obedience somehow forces the Most High to bless us. That is not the picture Moses gives. Our covenant relationship begins with his grace. Before we obeyed his commandments, the Most High chose our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He multiplied us in Egypt, delivered us from bondage, parted the Red Sea, fed us with manna, and protected us throughout the wilderness. His grace came first. Then he made his covenant with us. Then he called us to walk in faithful obedience. Deuteronomy 28 teaches us how we are to live within the covenant, not to earn his favor, but to faithfully respond to the grace he had already shown us. So common themes throughout the lesson, what we should learn from these 4 verses that we went through. Obedience comes from before blessing. The favor of the Most High reaches every area of our lives. Our families are central to his covenant purpose. Our labor is part of his blessing. True prosperity includes peace, justice, stability, and faithfulness, not wealth alone. His blessings are meant to continue from one generation to the next. His covenant is designed to shape our entire nation, not just individual lives. Consider these questions. After you watch this video, just consider these questions, meditate upon them. Why does Moses begin with obedience before mentioning any blessings? What does the phrase, "the blessing shall come on thee and overtake thee," teach us about our relationship with the Most High? Why does Moses specifically mention both city and field? Why are our children mentioned before our crops and livestock? What does this reveal about the priorities of the Most High? How do these verses redefine prosperity compared to the way the world measures success today? These 5 questions can, when you're going through these 4 verses, read these 5 questions first, right? When you come upon this lesson, rewatch it again, and then with these 5 questions in mind, because it completely switches your mindset to something that maybe we didn't understand before, of how the Most High wants us to look at how we're supposed to be blessed and how we're supposed to truly live. So here's a little quiz. If you guys want to take a little quiz, question 1, what is the foundation? It's pretty much questions that we've already went over. I'll just put them up here. I'll go through them really quickly. If you guys want to go through them, here's your answers. Got some more. Boom. All right. So the final lesson of this lesson, the doorway into the blessing section of the covenant, right? Deuteronomy 28, 1-4 introduces the covenant blessings promised to us. Moses is not teaching us how to pursue wealth, but how to live faithfully under the commandments of the Most High. First, we must hear, guard, and obey his voice. Then the covenant blessings of the Most High will come upon us and overtake us. Those blessings will reach every part of our nation, from our cities to our fields, and will be seen in our children, our land, our flocks, and the generation that follows. True biblical prosperity is far more than material wealth. It is strong families, faithful labor, abundant provisions, justice, peace, and a covenant people whose way of life reflects the wisdom and goodness of the Most High to the nations. Lesson 1 is Deuteronomy 28, verses 1-4. Take a look at the blessings, take them in, and understand how you're supposed to live in order to get those blessings. Once again, my name is Yashar. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh in the name of his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, and I say shalom. Love.